what's interesting about Kate Farms is although it's a healthcare company, it's a CPG company, kind of combined into one. A lot of our customers and patients are using the product for a very long period of time because they are dependent on the product or they're going through some health issue. And so we've got, in some ways, almost like a sort of subscription model in terms of the sort of lifetime value of a customer who's coming in and who's using our products for a long time. So one of the main KPIs that I wanted to really sharpen focus on, especially because we were investing in and trying to grow our e-commerce business more, was that sort of idea of customer lifetime value relative to the cost to acquire the customer. And in the digging on this, and this is I think a theme that's been common across a lot of e-commerce companies, what we started realizing is that spending money on performance paid digital media marketing is a nice kind of drug that you get a hit from and you can go out and instantly acquire a customer, but sometimes the acquisition of that customer is relatively expensive. And we've been experimenting with sort of dialing back some of that spend and instead starting to build more brand salience and investing those dollars into more permanent marketing assets. And all of that's part of like a much stronger amount of connectivity that I like to build between marketing and finance, because that's really, really critical in a high growth organization. It's really easy to overspend in sales and marketing when you're in hyper growth mode. And so, looking at customer acquisition costs is probably one of those KPIs where we really started kind of peeling back the layers and trying to understand and make sure that we're spending money efficiently. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I would say, it's about 80% of the business, medical, and that's primarily hospitals and home care organizations. So, a patient will oftentimes start on a product in a hospital setting or acute care setting, and then they will transition to a situation where they're being serviced by a home care organization that's delivering them, medical equipment and supplies and nutrition. And so those are the two primary areas, and we distribute through the large GPO organizations like McKesson and others, which is how that product ends up getting distributed throughout a lot of the medical industry. And then, specifically, so we're available actually in 1,500 hospitals nationwide, something like 98% of hospitals. A lot of times hospitals have contracts with some of the existing nutrition players, but we've been able to successfully break off some fairly large health systems that have chosen Kate Farms as their default nutrition selection. And so one of the biggest being the Kaiser Health system on the West Coast. So we signed a contract with them late last year, which made us their primary source of medical. Obviously, it's a highly value oriented and forward thinking organization, and they saw the sort of clinical outcomes of our products and the higher quality, and made that decision. Most immediate impact for AI for us is on the customer care side. So it's analyzing customer feedback data. It's helping customers. We have a 100% live human, based here in Santa Barbara and other places in the United States, customer service team. So you're always going to be able to speak to a human. But AI can significantly increase the productivity of that team. It can help a customer get to the right person faster, answer a question faster. And so I think that's probably the most immediate, tangible way that we're using AI, and that I suspect a lot of organizations are using AI. I think with other parts of the business, I think there's a healthy skepticism for AI right now. I mean, we get there's concerns from a legal standpoint, from a risk standpoint. And I think those things will get ironed out and figured out over time. I do see the ability for AI to have a significant impact on the finance organization, just in terms of, kind of going back to that data access issue, right? Like, we have a ton of data. How do you get really insightful things out of that data that can actually help change the course of your strategic decision making? and having sort of natural language AI tools that can go in and extract that data and help very quickly generate meaningful outputs, I think will be a game changer. And so, we've sort of cautiously looked at some of those tools, and I'm hopeful that we'll leverage more of that in the future.
We're up to our final question, where we want to ask you to look forward. Finally, we're wondering what your priorities are as CFO of Kate Farms.
Yeah. It's a little generic and high level, but I think the number one priority is just building a business that grows sustainably and profitably. Kate Farms, high growth business, well into double digit growth annually, historically, and as we look forward. So that's great. We're profitable this year. And really the focus is gaining leverage on our OpEx, building a business that is really valuable for shareholders and for all the stakeholders that are involved. And so learning the most efficient use of our resources to get there, being very disciplined in our execution. Those are the things that we're looking forward to, and the things that we're building into our plan for next year, and that we built into our plan this year and we're successfully executing on. So just staying close to the grindstone on that one.
Welch, thank you for joining us on CFO Thought Leader.
Hey, this has been fun. Really appreciate it.